Hi, this is Elliot Wave Sage. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education, entertainment purposes only. I wanted to just kind of recap where we are in the market at the moment. Interesting. Things happened yesterday, and I was cautious into Friday. We still got that little bit of a pump at the end of the day. It's just so hard for the market to close deep in the red on a Friday. It's just so hard. So there's a lot of things going on. So the first thing I'm looking at in the SPY, if we look at this looks like some kind of five-wave impulse off the bottom, a three-wave move, and perhaps another three-wave move down to close this gap at 406. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a pullback next week down into this area to finish out this two wave. And again, this would kind of end up being the count if this is the case. Something like that to end it. So just that's the possible count. And you got this kind of megaphone looking top-in pattern. Could it already have topped? There's always a chance that this won't hold. I think this is a very important low 403. This 403. So until so in the back of my mind trading, I kind of was worried about a deeper pullback, and that's why my strategy Friday was kind of assess where things were and I personally decided to leave the market on Friday and take the longs, my profit, and stay on the sidelines because I didn't like what I saw in the dollar index overnight. But you have to do what's best for you. I could be wrong. It could still pump. But I think it seems like it wants another leg lower. But you do need to be careful that it doesn't turn into something more severe. Um, the triple Qs, I mean, if you really look, you could make an argument this sequence is finished here, and it's done. The Qs have topped. So technology, it could be super dangerous at the moment. Something like that soon. Need to be careful. The other alternative is this is again just some kind of, you know, one, two, in a bigger move higher, and perhaps this could take a third swing down too, and then find a low, but it doesn't have to. And this looks very much like a bearish wedge type pattern. So on the 4 hour, it looks like we have some selling to come. So selling to come on the 4 hour. That will most likely break next week. We also on the daily cycle have topped out, and we're starting to curve down. The daily cycle is very overdue for a big correction in Nasdaq, and we're getting closer and closer to that moment. We have some divergence here, bearish divergence. This, you know, this will eventually reset down. So I would say technology is dangerous at the moment more than the SPY. So that's how I look at this market. So the Nasdaq is in danger of ending and having a bigger drop. The SPY could finish out something like that. The the Dow was weak, and again we could be ready for a larger decline here down. And if we look here, you have three waves. It seems like it wants to take another leg lower down to 32.4, 32.432. So that would be 800 points lower on the Dow from where we are. That makes sense to me. So the IWM looks like it could be done here, or it could the correction could morph into something more bullish, but I think it's actually looks like it's finished. So I think this market is very dangerous for long positions for now. It's still very dangerous for long positions. You can kind of see we came up against that trend line here. So do what's best for you, but I do think this market is ready for a massive move lower. Bitcoin did hit the buy area I was looking for, 25.8. It's bounced. So it's kind of the moment of truth for Bitcoin. Either this is the count, a 1-2-1-2, and will launch, or it's going to have a massive breakdown and this will be negated back to the bearish pattern. I would say stop loss for me probably around 2300, 23,000. And this is going to depend, I think, on what the dollar index does. And so if you go to the dollar index, it made this move higher in 3 waves. It should find sellers here for this push lower. This would be bullish for the market in Bitcoin. This would break Bitcoin over 30K again. But there is a chance, and I've shown this alternate count, that it's not a WX, it's an A, B, C that ended, and we're about to go vertical. This would crash the market, and I think that could happen. So that's why I didn't like the strength in the dollar. Not like, yes, it could sell off here, but to get a sell off in a massive decline, we need some kind of news event, because the it's just not going to happen just because. So could the debt ceiling get settled, in the next couple of days? I doubt it, right? Because they're pushing back meetings. There's not enough time. So unless this is going to meander in here until the debt ceiling's resolved, and when it's resolved, it's risk on, dollar collapse, more than likely, as that drama still unfolds, the dollar will just keep grinding higher and higher, and market will keep going down. So I have a different take on it, and that's kind of how I thought about why I don't want to stay in the market, because I don't see a catalyst, an obvious catalyst that could drop the market and drop the dollar index like this in a couple of days. So that's why I don't really see this as the right pattern. So I'm gonna look at a way to label this. I do believe that's the right way to label it. And then based on that, we should be coming out of this pattern. Like that. So that would make sense for the dollar index to do something like that. So we'll see, and that would coincide with the paddock around the debt ceiling and everything else. So I'm looking for something like this. This coincides with oil breaking down, with the cyclicals breaking down. So everything's just lining up nicely. If you look at the VIX, it looks like it wants to just kind of shoot up. It kind of consolidating. It looks like it wants to do that. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. But it's due for a healthy rally. And see, the 10-year, I do think should be breaking down. This could be risk off. Same thing here. This could be banks collapsing again, regional banks collapsing when that plays out. So that's why I think the market is dangerous to be buying at the moment. I do think there's more downside. This is probably a more bullish chart here, but this can be negated. The technology sector could be over and topped. So Tesla was weak. We did get this little pop here. Um, there's still divergence. It looks like, yeah, on the 4 hour too. So this is some kind of B wave. So Tesla's showing perhaps, the market still has some more upside. This is really 5 up now, 5 up. So even if B comes down, there could still be something like that. I think that's probably what will happen, something like this, like I have here. And then AMD, hit an area where it could bounce. It's starting to bounce here. We'll see if it can make a new high or not. Apple looks like it's pretty much out of gas at this point. I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I just can't get any higher. Something like that. Nvidia just keeps, defying shorts because everyone's trying to find the top of this to short. It is just not working out for them. So let's take a look at what we have here. Yeah, it's clearly not a WXY anymore. Something like that. So it's a 5 up off the low. Yeah. Could it be a WXY and A, B, C? It's possible. We have divergence at the bottom, not likely. So as much as you may hate Nvidia, it seems like to me the lows in this isn't going to break. It's not just going to crash straight down. It's going to do something like this more than likely. Retest the highs, and then it could see another 3 wave decline, a 5 wave decline, like that, something like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for Nvidia. And again, so could the market do something like this? So what would that look like if the market did a swing like that? It would be really tricky. What it would morph into is get rid of this. We would still be in B. We'd come down. We would pump back up and C, and then around September, October, we crash. So that's what that alternative view looks like, something like this. And that's kind of what Nvidia is showing me, yeah, but it's just one stock, and it could be an outlier and defy everything, but that's what this is kind of trying to show me. Let's see if there's anything else. Look at Google. It did hit the area I expected it to. Posted this idea when we were down at 100, I think. I would definitely not get too greedy if you kept that trade. Facebook. Looks like to me one more wave higher than 5. Microsoft, almost there. A little bit higher. So we're just running out of swings. I warned you about Disney the other day. That was a good warning. Let's see here. If there's anything else interesting to talk about. Don't like this I thought it could swing a little higher. I'd be careful in it. Could be a leading diagonal and drop to 45 and then out. Or I could just break down into the 20s and trade desk. Magnite was a good trade for me last week. I played that earnings and rung the register on Friday, but I think it could still go higher. But I'm being very cautious in the market right at the moment. Taking my winnings where I have them. So then let's take a look if there's anything else in here that pops out to me. I mentioned to watch DNA and this come in, down, and up, and I said make sure you leave it. I think it's done. So this trade's over. That trade idea is over. Now it should probably go lower. Then there was big pumping in First Solar because the government, I think there was some tax credit changes or something. So obviously it's negated. If you look, you still have divergence here on the 4-hour, on the daily, on the weekly. So my guess is it could still be in a corrective structure, as crazy as that sounds, and I believe it is. I believe it's going to do a flat correction and come back to earth later. I don't think this is a breakout to new all-time highs. I don't think the market will support that, but it does show you it's very buyable. Once it ends, it could go back down to 154, 140. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. And then its cousin end phase. We finished the B wave here. Looks like that's just 1-2 of C. So it should be heading down with the rest of the market soon, down to its final low. And it could still go a little higher, of course. But this was crazy, a crazy action. What happened here was crazy. They said some calls went from 2 cents to like $23 in one day. Imagine that. Let's see. China, I do think China could be supported in this area, PDDs. Again, I'm being cautious with the dollar index. If the dollar index is going to continue to rise, I think China will be under pressure, and this could push down to 53. But I do think earnings should get a pretty big reaction. But again, I'm more cautious on the market, but I do think this has a setup, still potential, and so does Baidu. Has setup potential for move higher, but I'm being cautious. Do what's best for you, but the idea is there. This could be a good idea. JD looks like it broke down finally in this 2-wave. Looks like it's ended. And see the K-Web still isn't in the ideal area, which is why I want to be a little more cautious, just in case. But the market does look at it, and it looks like NEO's making its move down to its final low here. And if you're tracking oil's been weaker than expected. So this could be a flat, an A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be finishing up with C coming in. There's a chance that that this isn't the right count. There's also, I could put maybe A here and 5 up, and then put B can come lower and even retest or even break that, and then come back and see, kind of in a very choppy way. So oil is really tough area right now. Silver is definitely under pressure, and I warned people that this could have been a major cycle top here. And I still would warn you, if the dollar has bottomed and going to go to new highs, this won't recover. This will continue lower. So and so with gold, and it would be a massive FOMO trap, which, like I mentioned before, you have to always zoom out, look at the bigger picture. While it was a nice run, This run has really started since 2015 and it may be over now, right? Look at the massive bearish divergence. And we made a new all-time high on that. So this move is exhausted. It needs a correct. This whole move needs to correct at any moment. It's not going to just launch out. I doubt it. It's going to do some massive correction against this entire cycle. And when that happens, then the market could be ready for that parabolic gold move that everybody is expecting. See, there's your 3 of 3. There's your wave 5. Massive divergence. This cycle needs to break in gold right here, this line on the monthly, and reset. So this I expect will happen, reset, come down just like you saw here, and when it does, then the gold could be your generational buy, where you can get a good entry. Here you're just kind of FOMOing in, and you're taking a lot of risk. Of course, it could still grind a little bit higher in 5, where this is just a 1-2, 1-2, and it grinds a little higher. But to me, a lot of the money is over, and with the dollar where it is, I would be careful, because if the dollar index drives higher here, like I show, gold and silver are going to get obliterated. Just keep that in mind. So the key to the market is the dollar index. That's the clue, right? Let's take a look at our RSI cycles and see if there's anything we can learn from those. So if we go to the daily, we're still within the corrective cycle. So this cycle hasn't ended. The weekly cycle, let's take a look here. Now, obviously, that leg is ended, but from here to here, it hasn't. So if I try to put the peak there, it looks like it hasn't ended. Now look, the weekly is turning up, the stochastic is turning up. So there is definitely a bigger bounce in the dollar about to happen. The monthly is reset. It won't want to turn up. The stochastic is turning up. So on the higher time frames, the dollar is showing you it wants to go higher. The daily time frame, it's still in an uptrend, but the daily may pull back, and that's why you may get this final drop and break that low here at 108, which will give the market a little more upside. But then the weekly and monthly cycle will ultimately take over and rip this thing out. But it may already be starting that sequence higher. So I think looking at the dollar chart, it still doesn't show confirmation. It's still in a corrective downtrend that hasn't ended. But I think you need to be really careful, because what kind of catalyst are we going to see, materialize on Monday or Tuesday that's going to cause the dollar to puke down like this? Something. And they're not going to be settling the debt ceiling Monday and Tuesday. I can tell you that. I can't think of a catalyst, so therefore I think the dollar will continue higher, and then the market will continue to sell off, and then you'll get that technical break of the trend on the dollar, and that's what I'm anticipating and playing out in my mind, which is why I decided to leave on Friday on open, because I just look at the dollar and I just see it really has more room to go higher than lower. I don't see a catalyst that could drive it lower on the horizon. So therefore, I believe the markets are going to be under pressure, and I'll just wait and see what happens. But like I said, we could get this bigger B, where this this could be 3 3, and then 1 2 1 2, and then 3 of 3, a massive drop down into this area next week to find support, to rip higher for the summer, and then later. That's the idea. The other idea is that this is topped out here, and I'll have to change my chart to accommodate it. But I think tech has the biggest case that I can make to show that, yeah, perhaps this correction is over. Um, let's look at the cycles on tech and just see how that's going. So the daily hasn't broke yet, and the weekly hasn't broke yet. So again, we're still in the uptrend. The SPY is still in the uptrend. The Dow Jones is still in the uptrend. But as you can see, they're both ready to break down pretty hard. All right, guys, that's my update, and we'll see how things go next week. But I think market's not gonna do well next week, is my guess. And talk to you guys later.